Hi there, I am the CRM Ninja, and on today's episode of the Oops Factor, I have the marvelous, the one, the only, Larry Merkelis. Welcome to the show, Larry.
Hi, thanks for having me. It's interesting to be here.
It's an absolute pleasure. I mean, somebody of such fame as you are holding the keys to the bespoke badger, coming on my show. I feel humble and honored.
Well, apparently I do. Well, I've got the signs behind me indicating where I'm coming from. And the other side, I suppose, what I'm proud of is my wall of stickers. It's
Your
not
sticker
massive.
wall is incredible. I am jealous of it, I have to say. I have
Uh,
stickers, I just don't put them up on the wall.
well, it holds yours. So, and
Yes.
there, over there at the top, there's your sticker as well. Thank you very much
I seem
for.
to remember a live session to place it, people saying up, down, left, right.
Yes. Now, since I've had a few, I started doing that in the badger, and then asking advice. It's a bit like the Price is Right game side of things.
Sticker placement is right. I mean, a bit more of a mouthful, but yeah, it
Well,
works. So
okay.
apart from stickers and the badger, I understand you have an interest in go-karting, hence my background. Can you tell us how you got into it and how it goes?
Well, I got into. I had always interest in motor vehicles,
Okay.
general driving fast. In my teenage years, I've been misbehaving a bit sometimes. Never got into much trouble for that, luckily. But later on, once I came to UK, which was getting close to 16 years now, I met a
Wow.
few
Okay.
people, and one of those people introduced me to go-karting, and um, I did join in and caught the bug. And then later on I found that it is actually a good way to switch off, because if you're in front of the steering wheel, you just have to think about the next corner.
Aren't you
Otherwise,
supposed to be behind the steering wheel?
yeah, if you're looking from the front, you are behind the steering wheel. uh,
Okay.
and if you're not thinking about the next corner, you're either going slow or you are in the wall later on. So it's that concentration piece that does help me to really switch my mind off, and then concentrate on something else rather than work, life, whatever else that might be.
Got it. I've been go-karting a few times myself. I have to say, I found it interesting. As you know, I have a motorbike. I would much prefer to fling a motorbike around the curves than a go-kart. I found it cramped. I mean, I'm 6'2", so
I
yeah.
can appreciate I can appreciate that it can be somewhat snug. Uh, well, alongside that, I suppose the other thing is that what I do enjoy doing, but it's a bit more expensive pleasure. This is doing the track days, and I
Ah,
have been on a few of those. To be fair, I've got an
what
image.
what have you driven on the track days, dare I ask?
Well, actually, that same friend of mine, we have invested some money into some old cars with powerful engines, and we managed to prepare an old R-Edge Volvo S40 T4.
Wow.
We stripped that one, kind of cleaned it up, made sure the engine works and suspension is not breaking down, and brakes work as well, and we took it out. We have been to Blighton Truck and to Cadwell Park with that one.
Wow.
And this year we managed to acquire a Toyota Celica. Yet again, it's about the same age. It's a
Yeah.
2-liter naturally aspirated engine. Yet again, similar sort of power, about 200. Just stripped it, and it doesn't cost that much. It's a bit more expensive than go karting. It doesn't cost that much, but it's extremely exciting.
That's nice. I've been on Cadwell Park actually on a motorbike, so can appreciate that.
Yeah, the gooseneck.
Yes, yes, some nice curves, shall we say? So, from go karting and old car racing, what do you have to share with us for the oops for today?
Well, I did mention to you earlier, as we were arranging that call, that communication with the customers is something that I would like to share my
Sure.
experiences about, and I've had a few kind of run-ins with the customers because I've been in my previous kind of part of career. I was in desktop support, so I was constantly on the phone calls with the customers and
How many
giving them
times did you say, have you tried turning it off and back on again?
a few. But that is not really what, because that actually works.
Of course.
The bigger issues are found when there is something operational that needs changing and people just can't comprehend that the back end of the IT systems don't work quite straightforward. I have had a threat of grievance against me for using comparison of the IT system to the cars. Actually, I do like those kind of uh,
Serious?
comparisons. Yes.
You had an HR thing for comparing an IT system to a car.
Well, it wasn't the actual thing. It was a threat of it.
Wow.
And the situation was that the person who I dealt with was changing the job role within the organization.
Okay.
And usually, when the job role is being changed, then you have to change all the backend systems, the access to certain folder areas, internal sites.
Essentially, it's an offboarding and onboarding for the role rather than for the company.
Exactly. It still has to be done because it is a different role,
Yeah.
and it works differently. However, what happened that time was that the request for the access that was required for the new role was done kind of through the back-end ways, through approvals of managers, and
Okay.
the access was approved and granted. The only thing that was left was the name, the role name on the system.
Okay.
And the request came through to me. And I did challenge the actual request, saying that all the proper procedures should be taken and used. That wasn't taken very well, and then I used kind of the comparison, saying that if you take the badge of one car and put it on the other, it doesn't make it a different car. That was not taken well.
Essentially, it's like just because you might have a Ferrari badge, if you put it on the front of the Ford Focus, it doesn't make it a Ferrari.
And that's exactly what I meant. It came to the point where I had trouble with that because the person didn't take that comparison well.
I can just about imagine.
That was one. Well, you probably would find many people who would take it as a good joke. And that time, actually, a colleague of mine who sat in front of me, when I said those words on the phone, he gave me thumbs up. Apparently,
IT
at the
people
other end,
support each other. Come on, we all know it.
apparently at the other end, he wasn't taken as well. And the other thing that I have had just the other year, I was doing some training for the users,
Okay.
delivering, presenting the system, and it was a full-on day's training, and those were end users, so they were literally using the system day to day. But
Yeah.
system was complicated, and 1 day's training was just about enough. Some parts of that system were very complicated.
Okay.
And one time, one of the training days that I had that I was leading, towards the afternoon of the day when a bit more complicated items came in, one of the trainees just said, "My brain is fried." And what I said was, "Yes, it is." Now, it actually was really funny, and we all took that as a joke. And I really did have to apologize for it, but all the people in the audience, they did take that in a way that I did mean it. But it was such a tiring day that sometimes these words just come out.
I always remember a phrase that I was taught quite young. I try and apply it, which is put brain in gear before engaging mouth in drive, which I think is appropriate, bearing in mind we've been talking about motor vehicles.
Well, that's very much so, yes.
So, what have you learned out of this, and how we communicate, how we should communicate with people?
Well, what I've learned from the experience, so it wasn't just those two. There were a few
Oh,
more
yes.
items that happened. But what I found and what I've learned is that actually honesty and sincerity does can you can get away with certain things you say,
Yeah,
as long as they are literally meant good. It's not to try belittle anyone or make them feel uncomfortable. It is
definitely.
about the assessment of the situation and where those things can be. But the sincerity of admittance that you've not said right things is also important. So yeah, if you said something wrong, admit it. I think that's my
Yep.
thinking behind it.
Sincerity is really important, and also, when meeting clients, you need to build that up. You're not just there to do it, but ideally, we want to all be trusted advisors, and when we're that seen in that role as trusted advisors, we can then say things that might seem a bit harsh, but actually is guiding them down a better path or taking them away from something that won't do them any good. But you can't open with that, even if you may want to say certain things at the beginning of your relationship with them.
It does have to be in the context of a conversation
Yes.
to for it to make sense.
And something that I found as well, which helps, is never be afraid to admit that you're wrong, of course, if they've caught you in something. But ideally, you shouldn't get to that point of being wrong, because you should admit that you don't know. And I've seen several situations. I've spoken to people over the last few years, just in general context, and says, they landed that big client or they got that promotion or something when they admitted they did not know. Because everybody can, claim that they know and stuff and BS and the rest of it. But it's at the point where they actually say, human, look, I need to go and find out. I don't know. I'm going to go ask somebody. You show your humility and your real sense of who you are.
Well, definitely, I do agree with that. There will be situations where people will say that they do know, and they will get away with that, just to
Yeah,
be proven wrong later. But
usually.
I do completely agree with your saying that nobody knows everything, and that is just a fact of life.
Yeah,
To pretend to know everything is not the thing that that will get people far. So
agreed.
admitting of not knowledge, and uh, I think what this is what happens in our community, and some people are to a certain degree some too sincere by saying by thinking that they don't know everything, and then being afraid to show what they actually do know. So
That is true.
please, please do go and show what you know rather than be afraid of what you don't know.
Very, very true. Yeah. And if you feel worried about it, definitely within our community, we turn around and we say, if you need help, let us know. People who are nervous of speaking, for instance, we'll be in that front row. We'll be there to support you. We'll be there to help you get over it. Bring out, everybody's got something to contribute.
Yes, definitely. And if you've got Tourette's, come over to the Badger. We can get rid of that.
Official plug for Bespoke Badger. Woo! Definitely. Well, Harry, thank you so much for all of that, and definitely some very valuable lessons that everybody, including myself, can learn from it and apply going forward. Now here's the point I ask: who would you like to nominate to appear on the show to share their own oops factors?
Right. As I have mentioned, I have been thinking about it
Okay.
before the call. Uh, and I thought you probably should get Anna. Anna from Peru, from Bolivia currently, and apparently
Okay.
she's moving to Europe soon. And I think she would have stories to say about her experiences in her career.
Brilliant.
So I would
I will
love to see
definitely
you.
reach out to her. Wonderful. Well, Larry, thank you so much for your time. We really appreciate it. Viewers, we hope that you've enjoyed this episode. Feel free to check out the rest of the Oops Black playlist, subscribe to the channel, take a look at the blog. And if you would like to come and appear on the show, look at the description below, hit the link, fill in your details, and I'd love to have you on. Have a great day.